Oh my God, I'm starting it late. Roy and I were,
You're dead on time, according.
you stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yep, sorry about that. On additions and deletions, we need to have a motion to remove the Deer Creek Lounge and the Shoreliner for open container permits. Is there a motion?
I move that we take those two items off the agenda.
There's been a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Moving on to approval of minutes. Is there a motion for the approval of the April 27th council meeting and the executive session?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from our last meeting and our executive session.
So motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Moving on to reports. Councilman Moulton.
I don't have anything at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Fonce.
Only thing I have to say is I've been listening in on the Rona thing for the teleconference, and that's about it.
Okay. Councilman Kincaid.
Like Councilwoman Fonce, I've been on the coronavirus 19 briefings, and then I participated in the planning and zoning a week ago today.
Councilwoman Nunn.
Yes. Our police chief indicated that cameras on officers and in cars is much the industry standard to provide reliable accountability, transparency, and evidence for possible legal actions. I understand the uncertain economic climate we are living in, but I also feel that one of the most positive features a community can offer to promote growth is a well-equipped law enforcement department. So thanks, Kelly, for placing an allocation of $50,000 in the budget to be spent by the police department to install a system of body cameras and vehicle cameras for all our officers on the police force. I have 3 questions, if I may please ask them. All right, number 1, we had briefly discussed sending out postcards with online information for taking the census. Any follow-up on that?
Kelly and I have talked about it. We were actually looking, we're still trying to decide which way is better to go bulk. You know, if we're going to do bulk mail or if we're going to try to do postcards and just pay for postage that way. It's actually going to be really kind of difficult either way we go, but
that and talking about keeping up with Facebook posts and maybe even doing flyers that we could hand out at
Door
different
hangers.
events or whatever,
oh yeah, we
or
talked about door hangers.
like we did for Big Brown. So
What's the deadline for completing that information?
It's been extended to the end of October.
To October? Okay,
Yeah,
so-
now they're going to start, I think they're going to start sending, they've been given permission to start going door to door, I think June 1st. The census people, so.
So by the middle of summer or the end of summer, we can see how our numbers are and maybe make a decision then if we need to make a push
Right.
to do that.
I think once they start going door to door, they'll track people down. But I think we're going to try to do something so that it minimizes how much they have.
Did you get any idea of what a mailing would cost?
if you do get a bulk permit, it should run about 18 cents each. If you do a postcard, it's about a little over 30. I think it's 33.
Yikes.
We're looking at about
And there's about 1,600.
Well, whatever, we need to do something though to get the word out. I think.
But we have a little time to,
We're also noting it on the next water bills that go out.
That's a good idea.
So,
are you putting the website on there for those people that don't know where to look?
We will.
Could you put that right on the
Yeah.
water bill?
Well, there's a website and phone number, yeah.
And the phone number there to really kickstart them maybe? Okay, number 2. How do we stand on our fire chief, Mr. Mayor?
I'm getting ready to see if everybody's still committed about being on my committee, and we'll start moving forward on that, having some interviews.
Good, and you have 3 candidates, you said?
I think there was 3, if not 4.
Oh, good. Okay. And last one, when are we going to have the council meetings open to the public again? Has that been tossed around?
Over the what?
Open to the public again, the council meetings.
We're going to wait and see what the governor has to say on Friday about more relaxation of restrictions and numbers. We'll have to see where that's at that time, and if that time, if he really relaxes things, we will possibly open City Hall back up and probably let people in. I'm sure we'll have to limit the number of people in here for a while. I'm sure they're going to still be sticking with the social distancing through the summer. I don't know what his numbers, what they're talking about for possibly relaxing numbers for, for groups and stuff. So as long as we keep our spread, with what they've done with this last variants, especially for the bars and the restaurants, as long as they can get the spread between their tables, they can have up to 6 people at each table. So they've really opened up the number of people can be in a group in an area, so totally for a building. So they've actually picked that number up quite a bit if you got room.
Yeah, my question was how many people can be in that building, but I guess it's on the square footage and
It's
what
on the
they
square
can do.
footage, and as long as they can get them far enough apart, they get their distance apart what they're supposed to, and do all the cleaning and what they're supposed to by what's in that variance. They're the only thing that limits them is their space.
Okay, thank you.
You bet, no problem.
On top of that, one quick question, sorry. Is the drive-through back open for the water bill, to pay the water bill?
Not yet, no.
Is there plans to reopen that, or?
If we'll see, our deal of opening anything back up and coming inside through that or the window, we'll wait till Friday to see what's said. We've also discussed doing some stuff on our counter in there. I noticed that front's pretty tall. We're gonna have to figure out how to anchor something there.
Yeah, and they were only 18 inches, so I wanted something taller, so I'm gonna look at plexiglass.
Okay.
And we'll make our own mounts.
Okay.
Walmart has that clear vinyl that they're using, like the doctor's office, that's 4 foot, and they have 54 inch. So,
We did talk about the fact that the restrictions are they're such a pain right now that if you have to be cleaning that much, if we open up the doors, we can't close the restrooms to the public. So we'd have to be in there cleaning every time somebody comes in. But if different reasons like that make us lean more towards keeping it closed for a little bit, but we thought we could open the window. It would be easier
We'll
for
just
us
have
to
to see
open
what
the
they
window
say.
if we have to keep
Yeah.
the building
I
closed.
think you have to clean
Waiting
the
to see
little deal
what
and put it in.
governor comes out with and what the variances are next week.
Yeah, I think for Kelly and, or their safety, we'd rather be safe than.
Yeah, and if eventually we open it up, like we said, we're gonna come up with something there to put on that counter that is a barrier there
Yeah.
between Flory and Kelly and anybody coming in just for safety. We've talked about that amongst us and also in our department head meetings.
I was just thinking, if you open it up, then you're gonna have like kids in the playground coming in to use the bathroom and get a drink and hop up and down the elevator. So,
Yeah, it would
Gotta
definitely pick up our,
be careful.
until they lift some of the stuff on the cleaning and number, how many times a day, what's open.
Yeah.
It would definitely pick up our cost on keeping the building clean, so.
Can we do something like the police department has, a buzzer on the door where you have to buzz in, identify yourself, and state your business before you're allowed in?
That
I think that would create a
would,
problem.
well, it's gonna be a problem and the expense to get it done and get it done that quick is probably not gonna happen.
I mean, it's kind of what we've been doing anyway. If we've had the doors locked, but if people call, I need a notary. I've met people down and let them in and bring them up to do the notary, or if they,
Yeah, we've had people come in, we've had
Got a
couple
rant.
meetings.
so that's really what we're doing already it's just not open to, you know, constant traffic. So I don't know. I don't know how time consuming it's going to be for some of these places that are opening up for dining and stuff. It just seems like it's going to be a lot of work. Anyway, and I also wanted to tell you that, you know, we ran an ad on the census. We put it in the paper too. So we've been trying to get it out there, but yeah.
I'm glad to know we have until October. That gives us a little bit of play.
Looks like we need to update a few things on the information board also. We got to get caught back up with that a little bit, maybe put some big stars around, get your census done on there.
I did put that up. I think there's some stuff that needs to come down though. And the only other thing I have is just a reminder that we have some seats open on GEDC. And that's really all I have.
I had one question on Councilwoman Nunn on her first question about the funds for the police department. That was already allocated in the original.
It was already in the budget.
So we're not
We're not adding another $50,000 to that, no.
good.
That was part of that $190,000 it was originally in there?
Yes.
Sorry, Chief, can't give you another 50.
No
Do you have
double
anything?
dipping.
Do you have anything else, Tammy?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, Kelly?
The only thing I had, and I did note it in my email, is that the sales tax check did actually raise this month, which was, Joel Sheld has no idea why either. So we'll take it while we can get it, I guess. And other than that, thanks everybody for responding to emails with questions and concerns and everything. I appreciate it.
Moving on to Public Works, Randy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Crew's been busy with garbage route and street sweeping, parks, upgrading meter pits, and we spent the whole week on Big Broom, and have been having to turn in more water because of the warm weather, so everybody's starting to turn on their sprinkler system. Andreen Hunt won the walk path bid. Now it's back in YDOT's hands. They have to approve all the bids and go through all the papers, and everything has to be T's crossed, I's dotted, and if you got a space, it has to be an NA if you don't use it. So if you don't have that, they throw it out.
So hopefully we'll have something back from YDOT before our next council meeting.
To approve it, so
Randy, what kind of response did you have to the cleanup project, the Big Broom project? Did you pretty good response?
it was a good response, yes. I don't have the numbers. I should have grabbed them, but I didn't grab the
You had
numbers.
pretty
from Randy.
positive about
Yeah.
people responding. Good.
We always do. That's always.
And tomorrow on the sewer project, they're pipe bursting that last alley. So that project should be getting tied up, and then they'll be dressing up the alleys. And they're still paving on the north end, and I see they got 9th almost all done now. So it's coming up good and looking good.
Yep, moving right along there. So move on to building and code enforcement.
Since our last council meeting, we only have one full building permit, 6 inspection permits. I've listed sheds into just an inspection. We don't have a classification for a permit for a shed under 100 square feet. So I just put an inspection form in there, but sheds are a big thing, so the quarantine must have done a lot of good cleaning out house. Now we're going to put our own shed. Other than that, Johnson Controls, their holdup on the mini splits coming in for the police department is Johnson Controls themselves, the corporation, on their employee stipulation of how many they can have and what buildings they go into. So it's not an equipment issue, it's just the COVID-19's got them held back from getting us to move forward. Then Short Power, Cobb Electric, however you look at it, is going to do the electrical upstairs for the same amount that was quoted for, that we talked about in the staff meeting, and that's all I have.
Was that adding a couple more of those floor?
I thought if we get in there and there's no problem, so just stretching them out. So.
Well, I know they can look at that up through those, couple of those ceilings across there on both sides. I think they should be able to tell.
Yeah, and Jared and I talked a little bit about it, how it'd be best. Yeah, oh, and one more thing, this coming Monday is when we're gonna start really pushing the enforcement on ordinances on lawn maintenance, alley maintenance, like we did last year. But everybody's looking pretty good so far. But just a little bit of rain, cold weather is gonna grow fast, so we'll stay on top of it.
Chief?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First thing I'd like to recognize is this week is National Police Week. National Police Week was enacted by President Kennedy in 1962 to recognize those law enforcement officers who have given their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. We've already received several thank yous and other things from community members. I want to thank those who have reached out to us, but I want to thank our staff, our commissioned law enforcement officers, for the work they do, and the other officers and deputies in the county that provide for our community here. I want to thank Council Member Fonz for assisting me on with panel interviews with our sergeant selection. Top candidates are going to be doing some additional assessments in the next couple of weeks, and I hope by June to have a selection for that. In reference to opening up access to the building, for the police department, we do have the doors locked for access into our window for our dispatcher. That is because our access area is just too small. Once you get more than 1 or 2 people in there, there's no way to maintain appropriate social distancing. We do have some, we are in the process of getting software that controls our doors so that we can keep our doors open more often and then lock them once we have people inside of them, but we're waiting for a vendor to provide us some software so we can have better control of those doors. We've also installed a speaker and mic so that when you go in and speak to one of our dispatchers now, rather than yelling at them, you can speak in a normal tone of voice and they can hear you just fine, and they can speak in a normal tone of voice as well. The last thing I would like to also say is reference to the budget. Yes, with the carryover, I found some areas where we weren't billed properly on the Motorola Flex program, so we're going to have some extra money there, so we're all good without having additional appropriations, I believe, for camera systems for the department as well. And that's all I have.
Any questions? Not, we'll move on to IT. Jared?
Yeah, good evening. A lot of back-end work going on right now, so working on servers, setting up video servers and network monitoring servers and stuff, kind of a lot of back-end infrastructure work. We got a guest Wi-Fi network up and running, so you can see Glenrock-guest. It doesn't have a password, it's just got a terms of use that you have to accept before you get onto it. So that'll help out when we've got people in here and needing a little bit of internet access. And then the other thing I'd like to mention is I've been working with, we've been talking with Rolling Hills to contract with them to do a little bit of IT work for them, because I know I've already been helping them out privately on the side and thought it might be worthwhile for them to just make it kind of official that I can help through the town, and so they can contract with the town, and then that gives them access to me a little more. They obviously don't have a lot of needs or will require a whole lot of time, but it just makes it a little more flexible for them, so it doesn't have to be night, days, and weekends for them to have access to IT help. So we don't have anything in writing. Teresa's working on getting a contract drawn up, and then we'll get that to you guys to look at. That's all I got.
Okay. Anything else about reports? Not, we'll move, I believe we have somebody on the line. And is that? Yeah, and we're coming to items of the floor. I'm going to unmute that and ask them if that's what they're here for. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? I think they hung up. Are they still there?
No, I actually muted their microphone. They'd have to unmute themselves. So.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now, yes.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, perfect, sorry.
I'm going to put my speaker down by the phone so everybody can hear you. Can you tell us who you are and what you're calling about?
Yeah, I can hear you now, yeah. Yes, this is Sally Supis, and first of all, I want to say thank you to Mayor and Council for listening to what I have to say. And I talked to the Chief of Police today, and I want to say thank you guys all for letting the seniors have the banners hang up on the light post downtown. It has been amazing. They have been driving all over town today looking at them and so excited about it. The one thing I wanted to do is see if we could host like a cruise night on Friday night from 6:30 to 7, possibly from the town park to Rockin' the Glen, just kind of cruise around, honk their horns, like maybe decorate their cars a little bit, you know, just get excited about graduation and everything. Obviously following all the traffic rules and also all the social distancing guidelines.
Okay.
I know that they're doing that weekly in Casper, you know, on Saturday night, 3 or 4 weeks in a row now. Yeah.
Any discussion on that?
I think that sounds like a good idea. People could get out and move around a little bit safely in their cars, as long as they are obeying the laws and not,
Chief, you have anything?
I talked to Ms. Supas earlier today, and I think it's a great idea. I'll make sure to have at least 2 officers on at the time. One question for Public Works Director Rumpler, are all the banners up?
Yes.
Okay, I probably can't count, I didn't have my shoes off at the time. So, it does extend from the bridge over towards about the 600 block of Birch. And so at the bridge, it is a 1 lane, so if she's talking about it, we talked about us having the kids be able to park by where their banner is at, people be able to drive by and honk and wave and the like. So we just need to make sure that whoever those kids are at near the bridge where there's only 1 lane of traffic, that we get them scooted over, and I'll probably be on and stay out late to make sure that we get people set up and it's not gonna cause a problem with through traffic.
We can move those west.
That would be awesome if you could move them farther west on Birch, because there's lots of room farther Birch towards like the 800-900 block where we have 2 lanes of traffic.
Yeah, I know the school came out and worked with my guys to put them up. I don't know why they started there, but they did. I don't know who made that decision, so.
And I would say if we could get them moved, it would make it even more of a safer.
Yeah, if we got them away from the bridge and the 2 single lanes where that narrows down there, it might be a safer situation.
That would be my only concerns.
Okay, I don't believe we need a motion or anything, so Sally, that's a go, and did you hear what the chief had to say?
Yes, just not have them on the bridge. correct?
Yeah, Randy's gonna have the crew move some of those that are down there closer to that bridge on out to the west end of town, to like around the 700, 800, 900 block right there on those poles. That way we've got 2 lanes of traffic going both ways.
Okay.
So we'll move them a little bit, but yeah, plan on doing that, and it sounds like a great idea.
Awesome, I appreciate you guys so much.
You bet. Thank you for calling in. Do you have anything? All right, bye.
Who hasn't cruised up and down the same patch of road 14 times? Right?
Yeah, I think the only, they were worried
Yeah.
if people wanted to stop, take pictures.
We cruised that same thing even when I was at high school. I'm pretty sure Boots did too, so that puts a little H on there. Okay, moving on. Is there anything else from items from the floor? If not, we'll move on to new business. So, first item of business will be the open container permit for the 4 Aces. So, if you guys would like to
Just come up to
come up to that microphone over there, please.
roll that down.
Hi, sorry, I'm a little nervous. I don't do this. Mayor, Council, my name is Chelsea. I'm the manager of the 4 Aces. My boss couldn't be here, so she's taking notes for me. So we were talking about how there's still a lot of people that are reluctant to come inside or nervous to come inside because, I mean, we're following the guidelines, but there's only so much you can do to keep, indoors with, we can prop doors open and stuff to get ventilation, but we just think it would be beneficial to have something outside. People would be more comfortable to come out and enjoy socializing, but also feel a little more safe being out in the fresh air, I guess. I don't know. I think it would be, and it would benefit our business more. Trying to get out of a rut, I guess.
so you would like this to extend from now through the end of September?
Yes.
Warren, I can tell you right now, the length of this open container, if we pass this tonight, would go through to Friday. till we hear what the governor has to say. We will not extend it past Friday as of this time, is just so you know that, because they're normally a one or two night thing, so we're not going to extend this for that extreme period of time. But if the governor doesn't relax some stuff, then we can come back and revisit that. We can put that probably into a motion if it's favorable to issue this open container at this time.
Okay.
And I think there was some talk, if you add a deck on, there are some of the businesses that already have decks, or if you add some kind of.
The only thing that keeps us from doing something like that is the alley.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't even have an issue right now. We would,
Yeah.
I do like your diagram, though, that you set out the distance and everything. It looks good.
We were in a hurry, so.
I think the diagram is backwards. Because as you're
Well-
looking at the aces,
Yeah.
the aces is here and the hotel's here, and those,
You're
Tanks.
planning on moving the tanks to the south end of the parking lot?
They're getting moved anyways, so, but yeah.
Okay, because that's the way it's set up.
Yeah, the tanks are up by the fence now, but I believe that, I understood it, just looking at it, you were probably moving the tanks
Yeah, back, like,
to the back end.
there's the alley that goes, yeah, so
Okay.
right in front of.
what's the deal with those tanks? Why are they still there?
It's part of their
Microbrew.
Yeah, but
microbrew
I
stuff that had,
They ever gonna get installed, or
I
something?
have no idea. That's,
We had some delays in electrical, so, but they're getting ready to tear the floor out and put a garage door in so we can get those tanks inside.
It says Monday through Thursday, 2 PM to 2 PM.
So our hours right now during the week are 2 to 10, and then, on the weekends, 11 to midnight, and then 11 to 8 on Sunday. But, I mean, if we have patrons in there, we're not gonna close. So we'll stay open later. Those are just our posted hours, and I wasn't sure if we would have to change that if we were outside. If we would have to close earlier, or if we could stay open till 2. I just wasn't sure.
Now, would your tables always stay outside? I mean, or would you take them in every night?
No, that we'd keep them outside.
Okay. The only other thing I would like to say is, right now, that parking lot has got so many weeds and garbage that I'm concerned that it's just gonna, hopefully it doesn't get worse.
Well, we
Make
can
sure, 'cause
definitely.
they have the weeds and garbage, and even in the alley by the building, it looks pretty bad.
Our focus has been a little crazy lately because we haven't been sure what's going to happen, but we are focused on getting the parking lot.
Because it looks, the downtown's kind of looking pretty rough, so.
And we
That
did
would,
plan
that would
on,
be my only concern, to make sure it was cleaned up and picked up, and
We
nobody
did plan
steals
on
your
putting up
tables when you
fencing,
shut down at night.
fencing around like the area. And we're going to put banners up like we do kind of during Deer Creek Days, so there's a kind of a barrier between the sidewalk and the parking lot. And we were going to get a big tent from Chrysler too, so.
is there going to be any additional lighting put in out there?
We'll probably go get something. My boss is bringing tables and tents and all that stuff down, so. And we're going to have some heaters out there.
Yeah, you probably need some lighting, some patio deck lighting or something.
Yeah.
Well, before we do any much, if you don't have any more questions for her, I guess I would ask for somebody to make a motion.
I move that we extend the open container waiver for the ACES until Friday of this week, with the option of revisiting this issue after the report from the governor.
There's been a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I don't think 2 AM is,
I think we need some more restriction in the hours.
that 2 AM's. I get where you're coming from. I mean, I'm a business owner, we're struggling too, but I think a more close at more appropriate time.
Well, that's why I could change the hours. I
Yeah.
just wasn't sure
Yeah, I know you
what
said that.
was going to be appropriate or.
That'd be my only concern. I don't know. What time?
Maybe a little later, like Friday and Saturday, but I don't mind closing at 10 o'clock during the week if that's.
Midnight.
Midnight, I'd say.
Midnight.
I wouldn't even, if you want to do midnight for the 4 days, I mean.
Do you have any suggestions, Chief?
I would prefer that it not be until late at night. although this time, well, let me back up. I don't think you're gonna get people staying out until 2 a.m. this week. So I think 10 or 11 o'clock is reasonable for this week. Beyond this week, I think if there's going to be a consideration for some sort of setup for the 4 aces like that, it'd be more permanent and be in line with what our building and code enforcement officer would recommend for a more permanent enclosure to be recognizable like other facilities have,
Okay,
rather than just some temporary barriers.
okay.
Mayor, the only other thing I was thinking is they're right next to a motel too. So if
Well-
they're playing music or anything,
Yeah, we're gonna have to be, we have to take care of what our neighbors are, and if you do have a crowd, I still want it to close down. I don't want it, going past if we set a time on this, Chelsea, that it doesn't go on till 2 o'clock or any problems. We don't want to create a problem with them for noise and whatever. They may be, their patrons may be over partying with you, you never know.
Yeah.
Does this fall into the Liquor Commission's guidelines of any monetary value has to be transacted inside of the establishment and money can't be taken out in the parking lot? Does
It doesn't
fall into
really
this or
have to
not?
do with the money. I think that the order has to be, they have to dispense it from the regular
Inside the bar?
inside the bar, but
Well,
Especially with these variances.
Well, that was one question. This is a open container permit. Normally, if they're going to serve outside, it has to be doesn't it have to have a catering permit along with it, or be both?
they're not going to set up a bar outside, correct?
No,
Like they would have to.
What says portable bar under the tent?
Portable bar, right?
Yeah.
We don't have to do that.
Yeah, that,
We can sell inside.
you'd
them walk out.
have to have servers, just like.
Servers, yeah, we don't want patrons, if you read what that variance says, they have to come in and sit down, they can't be up wandering around, so you have to figure out how to, if they're buying, they're gonna have to come, somebody's gonna have to be a server out there taking orders, going in and getting it, bringing it back in a safe manner of transporting it back and forth from your bar out there to the parking lot.
Okay, so
If you're gonna end up with a possibly portable bar out there under the tent, then you would have to have I believe that falls under the catering permit, excuse me, let me spit that out. But yeah, and if this would continue or something, that would probably, something we would probably want to add to it for you, Chelsea, at that time.
So short-term wise, it would be acceptable for somebody to buy package and then go sit out in like a 6-pack of beer and go sit in the parking lot and drink that? It'd be the same as
That
serving
would
it.
Probably-
It's an open container.
It's basically because it is open container, if they walked in and bought it at your package,
Okay.
and as
Or-
long as they
or
walked down there to drink it in public, they'd have to
Yeah.
go inside your enclosure to drink out there, or they would be cited for open container outside of
Okay.
your designated area.
Mayor, can I pipe
Sure.
in on this? Thank you, sir. The way I read the law is that if you have an attached structure to the building, you're allowed to serve your customers. And I think what the intent of the variance is that the establishment serve their customers in an outside setting. So they would need to come in, sit down, one of your staff member, following the guidelines of the variance to be masked and use proper hand hygiene, would take an order. The order would be filled inside at your regular bar, and then it would be served to the customers at the table.
Yeah.
And then, yes, just getting the package and going, sitting out there would be like a regular open container. But I think the intent is to provide you the opportunity to operate in an outdoor venue, not just have an open container where you could just drink on the sidewalk or something like that.
I was just curious.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to pipe up here. So
Sure.
I think that the intent is to set up some tables outside so that they can be served in accordance with the variance. I think that's what the direction of this container permit.
So all money transactions will take place inside?
Well,
No.
Well, you know what I mean.
He's saying it's kind of defeating.
In the variance, they've got two different people. The servers can't handle the money.
right, however the payment is made cannot be the person who brings the food or the drink.
So somebody else could come out and collect.
If the it depends on how you ticky-tack you want to be on the transaction. Is the transaction when I give you the bill and you give me the money and then I go in and I can complete it by running a credit card or something like that? Or is it just handing you the bill and taking you the money that's a transaction? I don't think we need to get that down in the weeds, but the establishment does need to follow the variance guidelines and restrictions of those who serve don't handle money or transactions.
So as of right now, operating inside, we do have 2 people working, one for serving and one for cleaning and doing money and stuff like that. But everybody's paying at the end. So there's one payment being made by each person. So I think that would make it a little easier having people outside too.
Okay. As long as you've got an idea and you meet those guidelines. We just wanted you to let you know that this is going to be a short-term thing until we find out what the governor says on. We sometimes get some of that information to municipalities in the county a little earlier in the day, just depends on, usually comes out to our public health and stuff. They usually get a written one before he makes a public statement. But we don't know what that's going to be yet. We haven't seen anything, so.
Mayor, I don't know if you saw it or not, but Governor Gordon announced a media briefing on Wednesday afternoon, so I think we might get something Wednesday.
Get something earlier?
Yep.
Yeah. There might be a change by then. There might be several changes before the end of the week. Hopefully, he starts making some decisions to start opening things up a lot more and make it easier for our businesses, and I hope he does. We need to do something with our economy. So is there any more questions for Chelsea? If there's not, I'll call for,
Discuss the time, closing time, maybe like at 11 on Friday, since that's what we're approving.
yeah, I would say 11 on Friday and Saturday is the latest.
We're not approving to Saturday, just the Friday.
Or is it, you're going to be open on Saturday or not?
Well, we will be open on Saturday.
So we need to pick all days.
Okay.
So do you want the late time?
What are your usual hours again on Sunday?
We're only open 11 to 8 on Sundays.
11 to 8 on Sunday.
11 to 8 on Sunday.
So do we do it till the Friday, or do we do it through the weekend?
Do we give the open container through Friday, or do we give the open?
We're gonna do the open container to Friday, so we don't have to worry about Saturday, because we have to wait and see what they
I
said.
would suggest an 11 o'clock,
11 o'clock, yeah.
11 PM
Yep.
Friday.
Because you would be able to do it through Friday, and then if we get something different by Wednesday, we'll get a hold of you, depending on what the governor does. If we don't get that information or something that would make a difference for what's going on there, then we will get a hold of you. And I think Margaret made the suggestion that it could be changed depending on what happens with the governor, so that's part of the motion. So we will, if this passes, we will try to work with you as best as we can and try to get you open and
Thank you.
making a little revenue. So if there's no more discussion, anybody have any other questions, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Good luck with it.
You guys are going to get me in trouble. I've been told that we can't run these council meetings this long anymore.
Yes.
It's because we started late, sir.
2 minutes. Jeez. Okay, we're going to move on to,
Stay if you don't want to, you're welcome to leave.
you bet. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks.
Okay, we're going to move on to the new ordinance or resolution. This first resolution is Resolution 2020-7, a resolution approving date change for council meeting. Whereas the town of Glen Rock meets on the second and fourth Monday of each month, and whereas the second Monday in the month of May falls on Memorial Day, government holiday, and whereas the town of Glen Rock Town Council feels it's necessary to have a second meeting for the month of May 2020, now therefore it be resolved by the governing body of the town of Glen Rock, Wyoming, that a notice is hereby given that the second meeting for the month of May 2020 will be rescheduled and to take place on Tuesday, May 26, 2020 at 7 p.m. Passed and approved this date, the 11th day of May 2020. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-7.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a good possibility that all the information, or we should have, is what we've been told, that the stuff should be back from the Wyoming DOT for the pathway project, so that could be approved, and then would be our second reading of the budget at that time and pay our bills and stuff, so we need to do that, and we need to be respectful and not hold it on Memorial Day, so. So if there's no more discussion, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Okay, Resolution 2020-8, a resolution approving the Rolling Hills service agreements for law enforcement and animal control services for the fiscal year 2020 through 2021. Whereas the town of Rolling Hills has approached the town of Glen Rock requesting assistance in providing law enforcement and animal control services for its residents for the upcoming fiscal year, whereas this agreement has been determined to be beneficial to both parties, and whereas this agreement has been approved by the town of Rolling Hills, be it further resolved that the governing body of the town of Glen Rock, Converse County, Wyoming, does hereby authorize Bruce Rommel, Mayor, to sign both agreements with the amounts listed below. Law enforcement is $73,744.96 to be paid quarterly, and animal control in the amount of $8,500. Passed and approved and adopted this date, the 11th day of May, 2020. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pass Resolution 2020-8 for Rolling Hills Service Agreement for Law Enforcement and Animal Control.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Chief, is this good? Is this what it was last year too?
This is the same amount as last year's, and our, when I did last year's, it was based upon operational costs. Our budget's gonna be pretty much flat for the coming year, and considering the economic uncertainty, I think it's the best way to handle this year's contract.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I will call for a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. We will get that signed and sent back to the town of Rolling Hills. The next one is Town of Glen Rock Ordinance 719, an ordinance approving the vacation and zone change for a 15.0 acre portion of the southwest corner of Lot 10 of the Oregon Trail Estates additions from R1 single family residential to industrial. This is the third and final reading. Is there a motion?
I move we pass this ordinance on the third and final reading, 719.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Next order of business is ordinance number, I thought we were duplicate, 720. I just want to go back and look. Didn't we just say 720, but it was 19, so. An ordinance appropriating money of the town of Glen Rock, Converse County, Wyoming for purposes necessary to conduct the municipal government for the fiscal year commencing July 1, 2020 and ending June 30th, 2021. Be it ordained by the governing body of the town of Glen Rock, Converse County, Wyoming, that Section 1, the anticipated budget of the town of Glen Rock, Wyoming is as shown on copies of the exhibits A-1 and A-2 attached to and made part of this ordinance. That appropriations mentioned in this budget are hereby made for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2020. Section 2, the town treasurer and the town council shall have this budget as their guide in the expenditures of the town's finances during the ensuing fiscal year. Section 3, after deducting all cash and other estimated value, it is necessary that the following amounts be raised in general taxation. In order to raise such sums of money, it is necessary that levies be made for the fiscal year 2020-2021 as shown opposite such funding. General fund, 8 mills on the total assessed valuation. It shall be the duty of the clerk to mail a copy of this statement to the clerk of Converse County, Wyoming for her guidance. Passed and approved first reading this 11th day of May 2020. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 720.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I have a discussion on the $185,000 for the alley grader and over $40,000 for a used dump truck. I think that's a little, I think we need to buy a new dump truck, maybe put the grader on hold, because last year we budgeted $10,500 for a blade for a grader for the alleys, I thought.
The blade that they suggested and had put in there was for the skid loader, which will not move and move dirt appropriately. That was only designed for pushing snow. It's not designed to cut and push dirt. And we are going to start taking care of our alleyways. We are getting a numerous amount of complaints from the citizens of the town of Glen Rock about the condition of them and drainage through them. We need the smaller road grader to take care of that, because our big grader's too big to make passes down the alley and do the appropriate grading, and to spread the gravel after we get those cut back down to where we can control our drainage through each one of those alleyways. The dump truck is a need for specific items of
Snow removal and water leaks to put all the slop in, and
I don't
20 times a year, I can't justify a new dump truck at $180,000.
Well, it seems like every time something used has been bought, something goes haywire with it. How often would you grade those alleys? Do you do them?
Well, we'd do
I
at least
mean,
twice a year, probably.
no less than
Would it
twice a
be
year.
easier to contract it out, to get them in shape, and then in another next budget year, budget for one?
The cost to hire contractors to do that work and spread the dirt is going to cost us more than it's going to cost to buy the grader.
Okay.
So
And then I also saw where there was an extra $10,000 for public works salaries. Are you guys gonna get raises? Or did I read that right?
Everybody's getting raises,
Part of
but
it, I restructured part of the salaries. The guys aren't all like assigned to water, assigned to sewer, it's all
Oh, okay.
split.
Okay,
And it's coming in a little low this year in the one department, so I raised it.
okay,
Took it off on another one, so.
okay. And then
yeah,
I
because
didn't-
our time sheets are, whatever they work, if they work sanitation, that's where the time comes out of. Parks, it comes out of there.
that makes it a little more difficult to read, especially for public works, because they work so many hours in each division.
Okay.
So their salaries spread clear across 5, 6 different
Or more.
or more sections. So
8, actually. 8.
it actually takes a little bit to figure out where all their, what they work.
Depends on what happens that year, too.
Depends on what happens, true.
Okay, and then my only other one was, I was against the trap and release for Laramie Peak. And that was all I had to say on that one.
Well, it's up to you guys if we want to go ahead and give them the $500. I'm not impressed
just
with
wanted to
it.
voice my
Yeah,
opinion.
I'm with you. I don't like the idea of them, that they came up here and started their catch and release of feral cats without even speaking to us. They just came into the community in this end of the county and did it all on their own and without saying a word. It's been going on for several years, so. But
What does that mean? What does that mean?
they have come in, they talk to people in your community. They've come up out of Douglas. They've set live traps and catch wild and feral cats, or some of them could possibly be somebody's home domestic cat. They get hauled to Douglas, they get neutered or spaded, and then they bring them back and turn them loose.
And a lot of that money that they used when they were giving donations for that, it was for people's pets that they couldn't afford to be spayed, neutered, and these animal hoarders or whatever were getting all these cats and getting all these feral cats spayed, neutered, and turning them loose. So that kind of soured me on that. Because the money was for people that couldn't afford.
Yeah, to help them with their own,
Yeah.
with the ones that in households, so. It's up to you guys
that's
whether,
it.
up to you
So I had to say-
guys on allocations, whether we would give that $500 or
What
not.
kind of life expectancy are we gonna get out of this grader?
Well, the one we got now is probably 20 years old. I remember the year,
At
we
least.
at least do that. It is a small diesel.
We should have a fairly good life expectancy, I would think.
I'm with Boots. I'm concerned on the used stuff, but I think
We're talking to,
I'm talking to 3 different places, and 2 of them guaranteed me that the money would pay for a truck with less, right at 70,000 miles or less for a diesel commercial engine. So, yeah, you got a rear end and all that, something else could go out of it, but
Are we talking the grader or the truck now?
truck.
we're talking about the dump truck.
What's the price of a used dump truck?
that's what.
That's what we're talking, the price.
80.
70,000?
Somewhere between,
So I've gotten quotes anywhere from 40 to 80,000.
So $250,000 for 2. That's what we're looking at.
But if you want to buy a new one, you're going to spend over $180,000 just to buy a dump truck.
Did we ever get that blade last year?
No, we went and tried one out because Kat called me and says, you better come try this first. And it wouldn't move any dirt. It's just for leveling.
It's a 6-weight blade.
So we didn't buy it.
That's not what they were designed
And that's
for.
not what I wanted. I wanted
Would do
something I could
some-
move dirt with and actually blade with.
You would actually do some pretty good damage to that track system on that
Yeah.
skid loader.
So
Not
on
designed
this,
to dig with or
on this
cut.
dump truck, are we gonna be able to get that snow out of the center a little quicker?
Yep, that's why I want it. Because we only have one 5-yard dump truck and I want to get this 10 to 12
I
yard.
like it down in the 4-way, but I'm real concerned about the middle school area. That gets real tight in there.
So we
That'll
usually try to,
speed things
usually
up.
try to start up there first, but
Yeah.
So then that means the town will be able to haul everything without having to contract somebody else to haul stuff?
yeah, we've never contracted. We just take
Okay.
time. Other than when I have road base brought in for alleys or whatever, then Bands Off for 71 just delivers it.
And you will be able to, the town will be able to pick that up and get it themselves rather than getting Bands Off for somebody else?
Didn't I say that again?
If you have to have the overlay, or because you're budgeting for that,
We're
can the
bidding-
town
we-
haul that, or do you have to hire someone to haul it with this new truck?
I put 50,000 in the budget for road base for the alleys, and that's hauled into our lagoon where we store all our dirt, and then we'll haul from there to the alleys.
Loader's tall enough to dump stuff into that big truck, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
The loader's gonna be able to dump
Oh, yeah,
stuff into,
yeah.
okay,
Backhoe can too, so.
okay.
Skid steer probably won't be able to, but the backhoe and the loader will be able to.
Yeah, all of our backhoes in the front end loader would load into it easily. Any other discussion?
Can we go back to the cat issue for a minute? The Laramie County,
Guess you have to decide that.
the Laramie County $500 cat allocation, or whatever this is, in light of the information that I learned tonight that I was not aware of, I would like to make a motion that we rescind that $500 to support that.
You would have to add it to your motion of, whoever made the motion of ordinance number 720, wasn't that you?
Can we amend that, motion to rescind the $500 for the Laramie County
Are you willing to do that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
cat program?
And you seconded it?
Yes, I'm with Margaret on that.
Please amend the motion.
We're not talking a lot of money, but
Good
still.
luck, but wasn't a whole lot of money, but yes, there has been some things in the past that, and I know that their funding is probably going to have problems just like everybody else finding funding out there right now for a while with what's going to happen to the economy. So is there any other discussion?
And let them know. That's why we're.
And if there's no other discussion, I guess I'll go ahead and call for a vote this evening. All those in favor of passing ordinance number 720 on first reading? Call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I had to get that spit out too. We've been here too long. All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay?
Nay.
We have 4 ayes and 1 nay. Motion carries. Next order of business would be, I believe, to pay our bills.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we pay our bills.
I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Has everybody had enough time to look at all those?
Who seconded that?
Hmm?
Who was the second? Roy?
Roy was. If there's no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. I guess the next order of business would be somebody to make a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn the meeting.
It's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been motion moved and seconded. All those, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed by nay. Motion carries.